How's it going? Oh, that's good. That's good. I'm glad you're here. How was your drive? Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, so just I would love to have you come on in. Yes, welcome. So, welcome to Woody's therapy session about long distance relationships. You currently said that you're in a long distance relationship right now, right? That's quite a ways. That's pretty far away. No worries, I'm here to help you out, and that's what we're gonna do today. But before we get started, I would like to sign you in. So, would you mind stating your first and last name? One second. Okay. What is your date of birth? Okay. And first of all, before we start, can I get you a glass of water or anything? You good? All right, that's good. That's good. Um, yes. So I would love it if you would just come on in and have a seat right this way, and I'll be right with you shortly. So here we are. How you doing? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you feel a little worried and a little stressed out. It can be like that sometimes. It really can. With long distance relationships, it's definitely like that. I have a question for you. How long have you guys been together? Okay. Okay. Um, so this relationship has been going on for some time now. Let me ask you something. How do you feel about being where you are right now? Like you living here, they live over there. How do you feel about that? Hmm. Hmm. Let me tell you, um, everything that you're telling me right now is all valid. That's all a part of the experience of a long distance relationship. The thing is that it's much harder when you have to be in one place and they're in another place. So when things like talking to each other or seeing each other might not be as frequent as if it were in person, also the quality time is a lot more different than it is when you're doing whether it's a phone call, text message, uh, video chat. It's all different rather than it is in person. So I'm assuming that you've had a in-person communication before where you've actually been able to meet the person. Okay, all right. Yeah, yes, it's like I said before, it's completely a different experience than actually being with them in person. Now, let me tell you a few things. Me, myself, I'm in a long distance relationship as well. And I gotta tell you that it can be stressful, it can be overwhelming, it can be like you're missing something, and all of that is perfectly normal when you decide to be in a long distance relationship. So sometimes you have to overcompensate for the fact that you're not there in person. So the best way to do things is to find a healthy balance of how both you and your partner how you want to communicate. Do you want to talk every day? Do you want to talk every other day? Um, what are your requirements as far as communication? Like once a day, twice a day, once a week? What is it? Okay. So, with that being said, do you feel like things are moving at a good pace since you've chosen that time frame? Kind of. I completely understand. Sometimes it feels like even when we give it our all and trying to communicate, sometimes it just doesn't feel the same because you don't see that person in person. I completely hear everything that you're telling me. But let me tell you something. Even though I mentioned some of the things that it can be a lot, I also want you to keep in mind that it can be rewarding. If you and your partner both have a common goal, that you both want to be together and find a way to move closer, then that's all that matters. When you take steps towards that goal and you take steps to move in that direction, you will start to see some things happening with that. You will see that over time that it's only temporary. It may seem like a lot now and you want to be with them now, but part of being in a long distance relationship, it requires patience. Now, to be honest with you, I haven't exactly been 100% patient in my relationship, and the reason for that being is because sometimes you get this feeling that life is too short. Sometimes you get this feeling that tomorrow is never promised. So you want to use every moment that you can to try to be with that person. So even though she's in another state and I'm in another state, we still try to take the time to talk to each other every day. We still try to take the time to have that quality time. Now, are you familiar with the love languages? No? Okay. There are 5 love languages that you should remember. There's physical touch, there's acts of service, words of affirmation, quality time, and I think I'm missing one. I can't really seem to think. I think it's 5, but I'm definitely missing one. But with all of those, you have to remember that a few of them you cannot do. Like, for example, it's a little difficult to do acts of service unless you provide some sort of support for them long distance, if you can do that. Whether it's over the phone, maybe do something for them that doesn't require you to be there in person. Another thing that's hard is physical touch. And some people are a physical type of person where they feel the need that they need to have someone in their hands and their arms to be able to kiss, hug. So, with those two being out of the equation, the only thing that you can do to make up for that is the words of affirmation, and that comes with a form of expression. When you express how you feel to somebody, you express how you feel, they understand or they can take it in that you feel a certain way about them. Now, that goes along with communication, and one of those things is always being able to communicate how you feel. So let's take the words of affirmation. Now, it could be something like, wow, you look handsome today. Or wow, you look beautiful today. And when you let them know what you feel and how you view them, that can help boost up their self-esteem. That can also help with reassurance, because part of being in a long distance relationship, you have doubts. And the thing is, it's not bad to have doubts. That's just who we are as human beings. And does that mean that you're insecure? Does that mean that you've been through some things? Maybe. But all of that isn't a bad thing. Sometimes with the right person, those reassurances can really build a strong foundation in a relationship. And therefore, you can take those words that they tell you and use them as building blocks to help your relationship really build itself from the ground up. Now, as far as communication is concerned, it's also very important to take into consideration that the other person does not know what you're thinking. So, when you're feeling a certain way and you're hiding it, you're not telling them, when you do that, it makes the other person not know what you're feeling. It makes the other person have an assumption based on your actions that things are okay. So when we hide our feelings and we don't hide what we want to express, what that does is you just pushing it down and pushing it down like, no, I'll deal with it later. I'm pushing it down. But then later, when more things pile on top of that and it goes like more and more, pretty soon it's all going to overflow and things are just going to get really messy. And it's really going to be um, something to deal with because of the fact that you weren't honest from the jump. That's another thing, is that honesty is also a very important thing. Now, sometimes it's harder for people to open up. Sometimes it's harder for people to really, truly dig deep inside themselves to know exactly how they feel. Some people are more emotionally aware of how they feel. And in my personal opinion, the reason why I feel like that is because when you spend time with yourself, it allows you to understand yourself. So when you take the time to truly think about how you feel about things, what you like, what you don't like, what bothers you, what do you love, when you take all of that and you take time to yourself, that helps you understand yourself and how you react to other people and what it means for you. Now, some of the things that I personally do is whenever I hear my partner, whenever she talks to me, I try to really listen to what she's saying. Now, if there are some things that when we're communicating that I feel uncomfortable about or I feel like it needs to be discussed, I try to make it an effort to figure out the situation as soon as possible, preferably right then and there. I feel that when you have that topic opened up, it allows you to not only express how you're feeling in the moment, but it also lets your partner know how you think about things, and it also lets your partner know what does that mean for them? What did they do to cause that reaction to you? So all we can really do is be honest, straightforward, no games. And the thing about this generation is that everybody plays games. Everyone plays games. And it's just, you gotta remember that a relationship is not a game. It's a growth process. Because you start here and you move forward and you move up. So climb that mountain with your partner. Don't take detours and places of things that you're not even trying to go to. You got to remember that if you two have a common goal and you establish that goal, then nothing else should matter between, other than going to that place. Another thing that you need to remember is that try different things when you're in a long-term relationship, long-distance relationship, excuse me. Try to remember that nothing needs to be routinely. It doesn't need to be a routine thing because after a while, routines get boring. So try to keep the excitement going. Try to remember what was the exciting part about your relationship when you first were involved in it. When she first said yes, when you went out on your first date, when you talked, all of that. What was the most exciting part? Wow, that sounds really exciting. That does. And I bet you really enjoyed yourself during that process, didn't you? Now remember, relationships take work and it takes time. So if you don't have time and you don't put in the work, it's not going to work. You gotta remember that you and your partner cannot be there physically at the moment. So because of that, you have to try and put that effort in to communicate more, to enjoy the times that you have, and to make things interesting and exciting. Because in the long distance relationship, that will also allow you to learn about your significant other. You will learn. One thing that I do with my significant other, we play a game of questions. And I just kind of look up online different questions. And if you want a link, I'll be sure to send you a link. Would you like that? Okay. So I found something on there that had like 150 questions. And they were really good questions. Some of them were simple. Some of them took more time to think about. Some were funny. Some were serious. Some were deep. And some were spicy. So, with all that being said, it really allowed me to know what my girl was thinking about. I got to know that by asking these questions. And it was fun because I got to see her responses. And when she asked me the questions back, she got to see how I feel about it. Some things we agreed on, some things we didn't agree on. But that's what makes us different, and that's completely okay if you don't agree on things. Always remember that it's okay to disagree on things. It's okay to have differences in opinions in any time that you have a relationship. Just remember that the differences cannot be deal breakers. It can't be something that would break your relationship. It has to be something that it's like, oh, you feel that way? I feel this way? It's not a big deal. But if it ends up being a big deal, it could do some serious harm to your relationship. Now, I've gotten a couple of questions and a couple of things that I had to actually ask my girlfriend. I just asked her, and she sent me something. I already mentioned about communication, how important that is. Also, one thing that she's 100% right about, and the reason why I'm doing that is not just because, I'm trying to, like, say that she's right about everything. I'm just acknowledging that that's also a very important aspect in long distance relationships. And what that is you gotta be patient. Now, patience requires understanding, compassion, sympathy, empathy, all of that. You have to have all of those combined. So if she couldn't talk to you that day, maybe there's a reason why. If your significant other had something where a situation happened to them and it's something that you could push to the side and it's not a big deal, or it's something that's not really important, but you make a big deal out of it, that could also put a lot of strain on your partner because they might feel like you're blowing things out of proportion. Now, I've had my shares of that as well, where she would tell me something and it might have struck me the wrong way, and instead of going about it in a more patient, calm manner, I decided to take a different route, which in response to that, she didn't respond so positively. Everything is all about compromise and understanding in relationships. When you compromise something, that means, hey, maybe we didn't agree on things at first, but now we met in the middle. And this is the solution that we're going to go to. Just remember, whatever you agree on, you have to stay with that take. You can't flip flop back and forth and stuff like that, because that's also playing games. Now, if there is an aspect that allows you to do that, then you still need to sit down with your partner and discuss that with them. Exactly. So, with all of this being said, when you take into consideration that not only are your feelings valid, but their feelings are valid as well, you also have to take it into consideration that even though you might feel one way, they can feel another way. It's all about understanding. Now, sometimes it's hard to come to an understanding and requires a little bit more work. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with a little bit more work. Relationships are not easy. Because if they were easy, everyone would be in one. But unfortunately, not everyone is able to do that. Another thing that I wanted to mention is something that she made important is never stop trying. Now, I know I was talking about effort, but I want you to look at it like this. Do you remember your first date? How did you feel? That sounds amazing. That sounds great. So, that first date, you got to take that first date and repeat it over and over again. Not the same things, what I mean is the same energy. That same energy where you was trying to get with them and you really like express how you felt about them and you knew that you wanted to be with that person. Never stop trying. Always keep flirting. Always keep surprising them, because life should be full of surprises. Life should be filled with happiness and positivity. And when you put that effort in to keep trying as if you're still trying to get with that person, that type of effort, that type of energy, the level of passion, it never goes, it never fades. Now, and one thing that I want you to remember, give me a second, 1 second. Our time is almost up, but I want to leave you away with this. One thing that someone told me, a very wise man once told me, that every day you're with that person, you go through different obstacles. You go through ups and downs. But just remember to love a little harder each day. I love that. I love that, and I actually stand by that. And I just want to thank you for taking the time to sit here with me so I can express and share everything that I can do to help you. Just remember that it's only temporary. If both of you have a goal, remember to communicate, to be patient, and you should be good. Now, long distance relationships require a little bit more work than it does if you were in person, but it doesn't mean it can't work. Again, thank you for coming. I hope you take care. I hope you have a good day, good night, whatever. Take care, all right? Love yourself, love your partner, and just remember everything's going to be all right. Peace.